is Valley News Live at 4.
Well, new at 4 West Fargo police are asking for your help in identifying who is responsible for distributing racially divisive materials throughout West Fargo neighborhoods. According to police, hundreds of these small bags were scattered throughout the neighborhoods containing a postcard with the language relating to a recent local court case. Now, that case is believed to be related to 24-year-old Arthur Colley, who was found guilty by a jury of attacking and killing 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson in broad daylight in the summer of 2021. If you have any information about the bags, please call the West Fargo Police Department and stay tuned to the Valley News Live at 6 o'clock for more details on this story. Well, police and schools have been on high alert across Minnesota after a string of active shooter reports. Now, reports have come in Cloquet, Rochester, and Mankato. In Rochester, the call about an active shooter came in just after 10 a.m. Now, they did not find any evidence of a shooting or injuries. A similar threat came in at Mankato West High School, but law enforcement said there was not an active shooter. In Cloquet, the middle and high schools were on lockdown this morning as well. And stay tuned with the Valley News Live at 5 for more of these details. Well, taking a look at our sky cam outside, things are looking pretty sunny right now, which could hopefully be a good sign. Well, let's send things over to Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson with some more details. Hutch, how's it going?
Well, thanks so much. I got to tell you, we got some big time changes. Here's what you need to pay attention to. Here's what you need to know. Find your frost scrapers, because overnight tonight, as we close out the summer season and begin fall, a chance of frost. Now, clouds and wind will limit the spread of frost, but we're going to be losing both the clouds and the wind in the forecast tonight. Here is the area of concern. Where you see the blues, we'll have a chance of some frost, and it'll be likely in some spots, particularly north and particularly west. But even here in the valley, look how dangerously close it could be to the FM area here. In fact, I think we'll have a shot at some frost in low-lying areas. So be prepared. What does that mean? Well, that means cover the potted plants or bring them in. Cover the tomatoes in the garden. Probably can't bring those in. I got to tell you, it's going to be chilly after a cool day in the 50s. 57 now in Baudette, 58 Grand Forks, low 60s here in the FM area. With winds that are gusting over 40 miles per hour at times. It's been breezy, and the clouds and the showers do continue from the northern valley as we forecast yesterday into northwest Minnesota. You're going to deal with those for the next couple of hours. Clearing skies, decreasing winds. Look at this. We're on our way to the 30s by daybreak here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. I'll show you how low we go. We'll talk about wet weather in that forecast as well for Friday. Friday night lights could be damp for some details in a few minutes.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to go over. Hutch, thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon. Well, a 28-year-old woman has been arrested after authorities say she attempted to kill her mother. Officers arrived in the 800 block of 18th Avenue South just before 1 a.m. this morning for a report of a domestic disturbance. And officials say that 28-year-old Jenna Winowarix of Grand Forks was upset with her mother, Robin Hendrickson. Hendrickson tried to walk away from the argument and went outside, but her daughter followed her, and that's when Winowarix assaulted her with an edged weapon, causing injuries. Hendrickson was transported to Altru Hospital in Grand Forks with non-life-threatening injuries. Winowarix was arrested on charges of attempted murder, but also aggravated assault and interfering with a telephone during an emergency call. Well, authorities called it a planned and proactive operation, but it had some in South Fargo wondering why there was a helicopter circling their neighborhood. This took place at 6th Street and 9th Avenue. Now, officials say the Fargo Police Department partnered with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration for the operation. And one viewer living nearby told Valley News Live that they heard 2 flashbangs and there were several K-9 units. Officers were clearing out when our reporter got on scene, and Fargo PD says that the operation is complete. Now, according to the DEA, because it is an active investigation, very few other details are being able to be released at this time. Well, people driving on Highway 336 near Moorhead this morning ran into a short-term closure of the ramp to westbound I-94 due to a semi-crash. Now, no injuries have been reported, and the ramp is expected to stay closed for 90 minutes, or it was, and it is reopened at this time, and drivers for that time had to follow an alternate route. And one person had to go to the hospital after a four-vehicle crash took place at the intersection of 23rd Avenue South and 42nd Street Southwest. You can see it right there. According to reports, a driver was approaching a red light and was not able to stop. It is believed at this time that the car couldn't stop because of a mechanical issue. No citations were issued and no arrests were made. The injuries to the person taken to the hospital are non-life-threatening. A former Minneapolis police officer who pleaded guilty to a state charge of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter in the killing of George Floyd was sentenced today to 3 years. Thomas Lane is already serving a 2.5-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights. Prosecutors and Lane's attorneys had agreed to a recommended sentence of 3 years, and prosecutors agreed to allow him to serve that penalty at the same time as his federal sentence and in a federal prison. The Federal Reserve is making another major move to slow inflation, but the latest decision will also make it more expensive for Americans to borrow money. Naomi Ruckham has more on how this will impact you.
The Federal Reserve is taking another shot in the fight against inflation.
High inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials.
Wednesday, Chairman Jerome Powell and the Fed board raised a key rate 0.75 percentage point. The fifth rate hike this year comes as prices for essentials continue to rise. Electricity bills are up almost 16% compared to a year ago. Housing is 6% higher, and prices at the grocery store continue to soar, frustrating many shoppers. And what do you think of prices right now?
I think they're ridiculous. They're outrageous.
The Fed's latest move is designed to slow down the economy and ease rising prices, but it's also pushing up loan costs. A new survey from Bankrate found the average credit card interest rate is more than 18%, an all-time high. And even though the Fed doesn't directly set fixed mortgage rates, they continue to soar. A 30-year mortgage rate is just over 6%, more than double 1 year ago.
Fed officials see inflation fighting as job one.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Fed's aggressive action has some economists worried about a recession.
If policy starts to work, the economy will slow down by enough, hopefully by not too much, to create a recession.
The Federal Reserve is expected to raise rates 2 more times this year. The next hike could come in November. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Naomi, thank you. Well, mark your calendars. Living Hope Baptist Church is sponsoring a gas buy-down event this Saturday from 10 a.m. until noon at the PetroServe USA on Main Avenue West in West Fargo. Gas will be discounted at $1.25 lower than the list price. Now, church members will also offer free window washes, tire checks, as well as gift bags. And the Redhawks are playing for their first ever American Association Championship at Newman Outdoor. And our sports team, Devin Fry and Jack Wallace, plan to have live coverage of the game at 6. And the Redhawks are up 2-1 on the Milwaukee Milkmen, and that first pitch is scheduled for 6:30. Well, coming up on your news at 4, travel boomed over the summer, and that demand led to problems. We'll tell you what you can expect this fall and into the holidays.
And as we told you, it was a cold one to start your day today, with some of us dipping down close to the 30s even here in the FM area. 42 is how we started the day. Brisk northwest winds, clouds, and even some showers keeping those peak temperatures at bay. Frost is in the forecast. We'll tell you where and how low we go. Join me. Weather is next.